This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Burgamy.
Yes, indeed, the show that prides itself in being the #1 source for everything and anything related to Georgia agriculture. This is the Farm Monitor. I'm Ray DeLessio.
And I'm Kenny Burgamy. Coming up, maintaining high-quality grain. The Monitor spends the day with an expert who shared some important tips on what you need to do if you plan on storing your grain longer than 6 months. Also on the show, break out those cooking supplies. In this month's Meals from the Field, Marcia and Ray will give you some great recipe ideas using tomatoes straight from your garden.
And then later, when the local Piggly Wiggly went belly up, it left many without a source of nearby produce. That's when restaurant owner Dan Hudson stepped in, what he did, and how his customers have responded. These stories and so much more starting right now on the Farm Monitor. We are now less than a month away from farmers heading out into the fields to harvest their corn and soybeans. That means it's time to start making preparations for storage. Damon Jones tells you what steps should be taken and what to be on the lookout for.
This will be the scene in the coming weeks as grains will be coming out of the field by the bushels. And with so much being harvested around the state, it's essential to properly store the excess.
You know, the important thing on stored grain is that the grain is its best quality that's ever going to be the day you put it in the bin. So what we need to do is focus on how do we maintain that grain quality through the storage process.
But maintaining that high quality is not easy, as the grain can be in storage for an extended amount of time.
You can store grain for several months in South Georgia. We store grain over the winter and typically sell it either when the price gets good or, till the next spring or sometime when the price is better than it was at harvest.
And there are a number of other things farmers need to be on the lookout for when putting their grain into storage, ranging from pests to bin sanitation.
The two areas that I get pulled into the most would be extreme weevil infestations, where we have a sincere loss of grain quality, and so we get into some real dockage issues there. Occasionally we run into some fumigant issues where the grower uses too much fumigant, and we've got some residues that we need to get rid of. And the other thing would be when we've got moisture pockets when we have to deal with aflatoxin, and that's definitely a huge discount for us.
Probably the biggest problem would be weevils, corn weevils, and so we can do a lot of things to help with that. We can treat the grain going in the bins, we can practice bin sanitation, clean bins, just a lot of different things we can do to help prevent that.
If you plan on keeping grain in storage for a longer period of time, it's a good idea to prepare for that on the front end.
Typically in South Georgia anyway, if you're storing for more than 6 months, it's really important to put some kind of a grain protectant on there. And so we'll talk about some different options. There are some new insecticides that are available in the last year or two. They're going to enable our growers to store grain which a little bit with less problems than we've had previously. And how to apply those as the grain is going into the auger is very, very important, and how to get each kernel coated thoroughly.
Now, not all storage bins are made the same, which means it's important you choose the right one that fits your needs.
That's really important in terms of airflow and being able to manage temperature and the moisture content in the grain. And so we're going to talk a little bit about fans and pushing versus pulling, how to avoid hot spots and wet areas of the grain that would favor insects to colonize those areas.
While there is a lot of work that goes into properly storing your grain to maintain its high quality, there has been a lot of progress to make the job a little bit easier.
Stored grain has been plagued for a long time with a lack of available products. In the last 2 years, we've been able to add 2 new classes of chemistries, and that's really advantageous because we don't have insect resistance problems with those. So I feel like we're in a great place. We've got opportunities to rotate, and we've got very efficacious products.
Reporting from Glenville, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
In the past few years, solar power has really begun to shine in the world of agriculture, as farmers have quickly learned that it can save them a lot of money on energy costs and ultimately benefit their operations. In Carroll County, a solar power workshop was held to help educate farmers on how beneficial this technology really is. John Holcomb has that story.
Renewable energy, something that has been preached for years. Now, finally, it's here. It's cheaper than ever, and it could save you a ton of money and make your farm more valuable in the long run.
It's clean and renewable, and it's you're able to be more energy independent. You're generating your own electricity from your own resources, which is the sun that falls from the sky every day, and you're able to save on the cost of energy by offsetting the amount that you pay the utility company.
In the past, the technology has been so expensive, it has deterred people from buying into it. But that doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
The cost of solar energy has come down so far, so quickly in the past 5-7 years that it's now just as affordable as generating electricity from traditional sources like coal and natural gas.
However, there is still a pretty big upfront cost that has to be paid.
There is an upfront cost. Just like with a nuclear power plant, there's a large upfront cost. The difference is with a nuclear power plant, that cost is spread over an entire rate base, or all the customers of a utility. With solar, the upfront cost is you. You're the one that's paying it.
That upfront burden can be relieved a bit, though, thanks to the USDA.
The solar is a renewable energy source under our REAP program. We have a loan and a grant program. Specifically on the grants, the maximum grant amount for a renewable energy source is $500,000. Our grants can be up to 25% of the project cost, the eligible project cost.
The big question, though, is it worth it? I wanted to find out, so I spoke to someone that has just invested in solar energy for his operation.
I'm a poultry farmer. I have 3 mega houses, what are called mega houses, 66 feet by 600. So we typically house between 175,000 and 180,000 per flock. That'd be roughly 60,000 per house.
He decided to look into solar energy in order to be able to keep a little bit more money in his pockets.
As a farmer, you have to control your inputs. For me, natural resource inputs, water, natural gas, electricity, or power input in that case. That's what I can control or lessen and keep more money because I don't control the market rate at which I sell my product back to the integrator.
Just in the first month, he could already see a pretty big difference. His power bill slashed by hundreds of dollars.
On average, then, we're looking at around, what's that, $1,400, $1,500 a month bill. Last period, my bill was $92.
Reporting in Carrollton for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
John, thank you so much. Now, we've got some important business to take care of, and that's food. When we come back, tomato pie with Marcia and Ray. Meals from the field when the Farm Monitor continues.
Hi there, I'm Emily Leonard, currently serving as the South Region State Vice President from Eccles County. When I put the corduroy jacket on, I feel at home. Like FFA is a family to me, and when I put the jacket on, it means I get to be with my family in a capacity that I get to advocate for agriculture and what the agriculture industry holds near and dear to its heart, whether it's advocating for new policy changes or just talking with different members of farming families. It's just when I put the jacket on, I feel like I'm meant to pursue something in agriculture.
To learn more about the National FFA organization, log on to ffa.org.
I've grown tomatoes since I was big enough to walk. My daddy was doing most of it then, but I picked it up as soon as I could, and we learned that the public loves tomatoes, and we were good at growing tomatoes, and the soil around this area here around Jacksonville grows good tomatoes. Before the timber and before the greenhouse operations, before the cows and the hay, this was tomatoes. If you want a little, you plant a little. If you want to make a lot, then you plant a lot, and I've always wanted to make a lot, so I plant a lot. The conditions here allow for you to get a crop out there early in March. This East Texas sand and soil, and it's hilly and it drains well, and so it'll take a lot of rain. Quick crop, in 60 days you're picking, and it gets really hot, so it yields the tomatoes quickly, and they taste good. You know, that's what helped as well. The people learned that these tomatoes from Jacksonville taste good. Well, we certainly want the large tomatoes, but they're going to ripen at all sizes. So you're picking a tomato, once it begins to break in color, which is what we call a breaker. Once it's on the blossom end, it begins to stripe. Once it's a definite stripe in color, then it's ready to pick, because that tomato then will ripen into 3 days. It'll be red. So it's okay to pick it. It's considered vine ripe at that stage. We found the old tomato shed downtown Jacksonville there on Alabama Street. And so we acquired that old building and started bringing our products down there and grading and packing our tomatoes there. And within a few years, we started opening up the front of that and made our products available to the public. It's a huge undertaking to do what we're attempting to do, and that is to make Jacksonville tomatoes available from frost to frost. As soon as we can get them in the field and as soon as we can produce them, we want them available to the public. Nothing in between there except a lot of work. We began to experiment with irrigation and different, hot weather varieties of tomatoes that would actually physically set tomatoes on down into July and August. You're looking at 3 or 4 plantings of tomatoes, and in order to keep producing them all summer, we market not only to the public, we market also to supermarkets. So we reach out all the way to the Dallas-Fort Worth market, with the Central Market stores and some of the H-E-B stores, and our tomatoes even reach Austin and San Antonio from time to time. Jacksonville tomatoes was a thing that happened here. I didn't create the tomato deal here in Jacksonville. It was our ancestors, our forefathers created the tomato deal at Jacksonville and caused Jacksonville to gain its prominence as the tomato producing capital of the world. Some of my friends grow tomatoes in other areas, and they just can't stand when people talk all the time about Jacksonville tomatoes. And you can talk to the customers as well when you go to these markets. So they try tomatoes elsewhere. He said Jacksonville tomatoes are the best. That's what it is. The tomatoes are good, and all we're doing is growing them.
From tomatoes in Texas to tomatoes here in Georgia, you are watching the Georgia Farm Monitor and another edition of Meals from the Field. Welcome back, everybody. Joining me, as always, my good friend and partner in crime, Marcia Crowley. Good to see you again, Marcia.
Yes.
We love doing tomatoes. And
I love tomatoes.
I love tomatoes, too. I didn't like them as a kid. I'll admit, did not like them as a kid. But I like them now. And you have got some phenomenal recipes this month.
I hope so.
Using tomatoes. So go ahead, let's get started.
Well, we've done the tomato pie. It was one of the first ones we did back when we started. But I make it all the time in the summer, and it's worth repeating. Okay. This is a pie crust. You bake it according to package directions, and of course you can make your own. I don't do that. But, all right, we're going to put in the bottom of that 1/4 cup of chopped onion. And while I'm doing this, I'd like to say hello to some friends in Douglas that watch us all the time.
All right.
Cole and Parker.
Cole and Parker, thank you for watching.
They watch us all the time. They're our biggest fans. All right, this is 2.5 to 3 cups of chopped tomatoes, and tomatoes should be in season in your garden now. If not, there's local farmers markets or your farm stands that would have tomatoes.
All right.
And chop these. First of all, I've drained them. It doesn't look like it, but they've been sitting here a while. You chop them and put them in a colander and let most of the liquid come out with a little salt. You're going to top that with a little salt and pepper. And this is optional if you can't have salt. A little bit of fresh chopped basil, which should be in people's gardens now. All right, got that in there. And then you're going to mix a cup of mayonnaise, a cup of cheddar, and a cup of mozzarella cheese. Mix that all together, and you're going to spread it on the top of the pie. And this may take a little minute, so you might have to just pretend that we did it the right way so we can move on. But you're going to spread this on the top of the pie, and you're going to bake it at 350 for about 20 minutes. Okay? Let's move that out of our way. The next thing, this is so good.
Oh, and we got, of course, we've got the finished product here. Let's
yeah.
go ahead and grab that and show that. How delicious that is.
It's very good.
Very nice.
Too good. The basil and the fresh tomatoes just make it delicious.
All right, what's next?
All right, this is a BLT dip. So in the bowl, I've got 3/4 cup of sour cream and 3/4 cup of mayonnaise. I'm going to add to that 1/4 cup of green onions, a pound of bacon.
Can't go wrong with bacon.
Can't go wrong with that. That's probably the hardest part of this recipe. And then a cup of chopped tomato again and a cup of iceberg lettuce. You're going to stir all that up and chill it before you serve it, and you serve it with bagel chips.
Bagel chips, okay.
And it's really, really good. It's really good, and it's not fattening at all with the sour cream.
No, nor the bacon, no, anything like that. And as Marcia mentioned, here's the bagel chips, which I cannot wait to dive into that.
It's good, let me tell you.
Good stuff.
It'll be a hit.
Okay. And then last but not least,
all right, this is
a little macaroni pasta
salad.
stuff going on.
And macaroni salad is real southern.
Right.
But you could use any pasta that you wanted to. It's about 4 cups of cooked pasta. We're going to add to that a cup of cubed cheddar cheese.
Okay.
About a cup of frozen green peas. The canned peas are kind of too mushy, so use the frozen. Just thaw them a little bit. You don't even really have to do that. We've got a half a cup of chopped onion, a half a cup of chopped celery, a little bit of basil, fresh basil again. Can't go wrong with tomatoes and basil. And a cup of chopped tomatoes. You're going to mix that up with the dressing, which is a half a cup of mayonnaise, a half a cup of regular Italian dressing. You can use the cheap stuff, and a little bit of sugar.
All right.
And you just mix that up and chill it, and you serve it, and it is really good. It tastes fresh too. And that's it. That's your tomato.
You got 3 recipes in today. That's awesome.
Did. Actually, I make this macaroni salad all the time.
There's a finished product on that. And see, that's the best part about doing these every month, Marcia, is because it's my job. I have to test these out.
That's
so
exactly.
I can,
you gotta try 'em.
Be your witness to everybody what a great cook you are. And of course, folks, you too can be a good cook like Marcia. All you have to do is log on to farm-monitor.com. All of our recipes are there for you in detail. Marcia does a phenomenal job sending us those recipes.
And they have pictures. That's really nice,
And they've got pictures, so you can compare your result to Marcia's result. It's not going to be as good as Marcia's, probably.
Oh, well, yeah, it will be.
Anyway, so good to see you again, Marcia.
See you next
month. And of course, we will see you next month.
Ray and Marcia, thank you so much. And don't forget, if you missed any part of today's Meals from the Field or other features on today's show, you can still see them in their entirety at our YouTube channel. And while you're there, surf on over to the Georgia Farm Monitor Facebook page. If you have a story idea or if you just want to leave us a comment or suggestion, send us a message either on Facebook or the address on your screen. That is news@farm-monitor.com. When we come back, it's known for serving up some of the best barbecue around, but thanks to this Roberta restaurant, local residents now have a source for their fresh fruits and vegetables.
Nobody ever said gardening was limited to just the over 21 crowd. A plant doesn't care how old its caretaker might be, as long as it gets water, sun, and nutrients. But before you grow a garden, you've got to dig it.
Actually, yeah. I mean, I don't like getting dirty, but I like planting stuff.
That'll work. More than 50 kids, ages 6 to 12, were part of Farm to You, a junior Master Gardener camp in Williamson County. This day, a field trip to Franklin's Stony Creek, a teaching farm and pick-your-own operation.
I put like 2 in the basket and maybe a couple, and I eat a couple.
Farm owner Leif Underberg teaches the kids to grow their own buckwheat in a cup, and later leads a tour through the gardens, where the kids learn where our food comes from, agriculture's most important lesson.
So it's exciting for us to be able to actually educate them on how to pick green beans, how to pick the right tomato, how to fry green tomatoes, all that kind of stuff we can actually do.
Organized by UT and TSU Extension, there are some 2,500 adult Master Gardeners in Tennessee, and many volunteer their time at events like this camp to teach the younger ones.
And our goal is to inspire a love of horticulture, wildlife, and a sense of giving back to the community.
The kids also got a chance to check out the chickens, part of the visit called Fowl Play. The camp includes lessons about our synchronized world, how plants and animals are all connected, and that it takes work to produce food.
Well, we hope that they take home what they learn, just a little bit of it, that insects are not bad, they're good for the most part, that your produce and vegetables don't come from the grocery store, that we actually grow them.
Oh, MacDonald has one, E-I-E-I-O. The campers end their visit by serenading the owners of Stony Creek. When it comes to farming, the land must be worked and the human touch is necessary. So keep digging, kids. The earth provides our food supply. We just have to help it along. This is Charles Denny reporting.
Finally this week, we finish in Roberta, Georgia, and Hudsons BBQ. Yes, they have incredible food, but it's another service that owner Dan Hudson is providing that makes this story so special.
Yeah, Kenny, you see, when the local Piggly Wiggly closed in 2016, it meant that if area residents wanted fresh fruits and vegetables, they'd have to travel to either Fort Valley or Macon to get those items. Well, that is when Dan Hudson stepped in and began selling fruits and vegetables from his store to fill that void. According to Hudson, the response has been overwhelming.
The Facebook communities, the local discussion pages, you know, it was an uproar about nowhere to buy fresh produce, and at the time it was an off season. So we had no local produce grower. Nothing was in season at the time. So I carry a full variety of produce here for my daily use. A lot of the stuff we do at the restaurant is all fresh. Not a whole lot of poured out of a bag stuff. A lot of homemade stuff. So all of my vegetables I cook from fresh. And so I decided that, you know, I had a little room. I'm already stocking it. Why not offer it to give everybody else the same opportunity that I have? I buy it from a wholesaler. Matter of fact, that's what I'm doing now, is doing a produce order. And my wholesalers bring it to me, and I just offer it to everybody else. From the time I said that I was going to do it, I started getting phone calls and people, you know, saying how great that was. And really, I'm just, like I said, affording everybody else the opportunity that I had. When I get home in the evenings and I'm going to cook my family supper, if I want to make a salad, I run up here and grab a head of lettuce out of my cooler. Well, I'm probably the only place in town that has that luxury. So I did it to everybody else, and it wasn't a big deal to me. It was just a way of, you know, helping everybody out. And man, it's been a big outpouring of people saying thank you. You know, they come and buy stuff. And like right now, it's slowed down a little bit, but I want them to support all these other guys, because that's what keeps all this the local farmers going, and that the smaller guys in business, in which that's what I am. I want them to eat here instead of driving to Fort Valley or wherever to eat McDonald's or Burger King or something like that. I think it would be really neat to have a small, see, like in this strip right here where we are right now, this is where the old grocery store was before there was another grocery store in town. It was one of these small parcels like this, and they had, you know, you went in and got all your sugars and your meats and your, you know, everything, you need, flours, everything you need, your basic stuff. And really that's all we need. It's just, we just need the place and for the community to support it, and maybe we'll make it happen. Yeah, I've really thought about it, but this one keeps me busy. You know, I'm raising two young girls and got a family, and I would love to do it, but man, time is just the issue.
Great story. That is going to do it for this week's edition of the Farm Monitor.
Here's a reminder for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm. Be sure you check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and with us here on the show.
Take care, everybody. We will see you next week right here on the Farm Monitor.
Have a great week.